Hello, this is Margaret Ajibola, the STEM Positive Disruptor, and we are on Mia's conversation with my special guest, Ngawa Mwanza. She's a graduate mining engineer. She's going to give us more about herself. Also recently, congratulations, by the way, on being awarded the 2022 Student Touch Bearer Award with the, was it the Bantu women in mining? Okay. Yes. Well, congratulations. So, as I said, we're celebrating. So well done. Well done. Okay. So this reason why we set up this platform, we want to educate, we want to raise awareness, we want to change people's perception, demystify what STEM is. That's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And today, my special guest, I'm just impressed because she's in a mining where she's recently graduated and she's looking to work within the mining industry. She's done some internship within the mining industry with Kansanshi
Copper Mine, FQM, Zambia.
Exactly. So you're going to tell us more about that and your journey, your educational journey, because what we want to do, we want to bring the public into our domain. We want to get them to see what we do, the different types of roles within the STEM world, to show the diversity, who we're working with within what, and if there lacks, then how can we make it more inclusive? And you are a wonderful example of women in the mining industry, and I would love you to just tell us more about yourself. And so I open the platform to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Margaret. I'm very humbled to be here with you. This is very overwhelming and great. Yeah, so my name is Ngawa Mwanza, and I just recently graduated from the Copper Belt University. So I grew up in a mining town here on the Copper Belt. So my childhood has always been seeing people going in and out of the mine. My grandfather actually worked for the mine. Yeah, so there's just so much motivation being in a mining country. So I had my education on the Copper Belt. Then I shifted to the eastern part of Zambia. It was sort of in a village where I had my secondary education. From there, I was actually sponsored by somebody who wasn't my relative after I passed my grade 12 education. So there's the former governor of the Bank of Zambia. He picked me up when I was in the village. And he said, you know what, I will sponsor your tertiary education. Wow. So to move things fast, I went to the university. And while I was in university there, I lost someone that was very close to me. So I actually went through a stage in life where I had mental health issues because I was very depressed in losing somebody that was so close to me. So from university, I just made it my mission to say, you know what, I want to be this and I want to be that, because the education system here in my country is kind of biased. Some sort of what we learn and what we're coming to see now is quite different. We learn of history, we learn about the war that was happening in Africa, something that's not even coming to have an impact on us when we grow up. So while I was in my university, I joined the mining department, and at first I was the only female in class with a lot of gents around me. Yeah, so it was kind of scary, but then we had some girl join us, so we're like 2 girls in class, but mining has always been a male-dominated industry. So I just forged my socks and said, you know what, I want to do this program and I'm going to do it. And I turned out to love mining. It's very great. It's actually very good. It's a good program. Yeah, so that's been about my journey with university. I also served as the Copper Belt University School of Mines vice president while I was at school. Yeah, I had to take up some leadership roles. I was like, you know what, I can do this. Let me try. And I tried. Yeah, so I served in some leadership roles, not just in the School of Mines, but just the overall university. Yeah.
Wow, that's so impressive. Do you know, I'm again, congratulations for graduating and staying through the whole process, even when you were, as you said, you mentioned about losing a loved one, and that's quite hard because, especially when they're so close to you, it just throws a curveball where in a way you don't know how to get out of it. But what I do admire about is that, okay, in spite of what happened, you also knew that this loved one, I believe, would want you to attain something of yourself. And the fact that you're being sponsored by someone who, a relative or so, the governor of your state, and took it out means that, you know, there were lots of things riding on you. And so congratulations again going through that process. It was hard, but I think you learned a lot. And the thing that you did is, yeah, exactly. And so, you know, just moving fast forward now, when did you graduate? Was it last year or this year?
No, my graduation hasn't even passed yet, so my results just came out.
Oh, okay.
I'm yet to wear the graduation gown. I think later, I think early 2023, maybe April or
wow.
So. Yeah.
I'm so impressed. Do you know something? You are an inspiration. You're a role model, because what you're showing is that you can do it, and you are willing to take whatever is necessary to achieve that goal. And I'm so proud of you. The fact that you get to that place where you've now got your results, and I'm assuming you passed, because you can't be doing a graduation without your pass. And so again, congratulations to that. You talked about I was looking at your profile, and you spoke about working at the Kansanshi copper mine in Solwezi. Sorry, I apologize for my I apologize for the pronunciation. But yeah, please tell us more about your internship there.
Last year I got a chance to go to FQM, First Quantum Minerals. I was selected by the HOD to go. There were the 5 of us, 2 girls and 3 boys. Mm-hmm. So while at Kansanshi, I was given a very diverse project. Mm-hmm. It was under drilling and blasting. Mm-hmm. So this was the first time I was going to the mine, because we've not been having that exposure between the students and the industry. We only learn things, and we don't get to see them. We don't get to see the actual things of what's happening in our industry. So last year, I had a very, very good opportunity and chance to go to the mine. And the project I was given was quite challenging and diverse. Okay. So I was evaluating drill and blast parameters in a certain cutback where they have these stubborn rocks. They're very, very hard rocks, such that drilling these rocks is very hard. You find that the mine is losing out on consumables, and it's just very costly to blast these rocks because you're pumping in a lot more of explosives. Mm-hmm. So I was tasked to evaluate and change the design parameters of that certain cutback to improve on fragmentation. Mm-hmm. So the experience at Kansanshi it was very good for me. It was quite eye-opening because I had to work with different departments in the mine. Mm-hmm. I had to understand the load and haul department, queuing of machines. I had to work with dispatch. I worked with bulk mining explosives, BME and Orica. And I was given the chance to actually fire and blast my own block, which was It was very good. And, I felt at that moment, I just felt like the whole world never existed when I was pressing the button and the blast was just like, boo, boo, boo. And fragmentation was actually very good. So on my part, I did a very good job. I did some theoretical work. I did more research on the blasting patterns, on how to ensure energy is contained within a block so that we can fragment the very hard rock. And it worked for me. We did improve on the blasting patterns for the mines. And yeah.
Okay. And in relation to you doing that internship at this Kansanshi, did it relate with all your subjects you did at university? Could you see the relationship within what you studied? I know you mentioned about there was biasity and the way that maybe some of the teaching was done, but in going on this internship, could you see the relationship between what you studied and what took place, or in some elements anyway?
I'll be very honest. I think it was 50-50.
Oh, that's not bad.
Mostly because what we learn in university is very odd. Our syllabuses are still are not yet revised. We haven't started putting in the component of technology. In the mines, it's very different. It's like a world that's evolving. Everything is so technical. The softwares I was using on evaluating fragmentation are being improved on a daily basis. And in school, we are not learning about the evolving technology in the mine. We're learning about underground methods that were existing maybe 50 years ago.
So very traditional.
Yes, traditional mining. We're learning traditional mining when the world is evolving. So when we first reached the mine, it was kind of hard for us to get into what's really happening, you know? The mines are just a different place. There's automation, there's machinery that you just control in the control room. But in university, we're getting to draw a dump truck, which is not offering me any help when I go to the industry. So that's why I would say it was 50-50. There's some things that I did learn that I saw to say, no, these are very useful things. Yes. But some things that we're learning, I don't think they're very helpful. We should maybe branch in more into developing the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field in our universities.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, that's so true. And this is so important because when you think about it, one of the things that we do, unless we see sometimes you can get the education, but there's no relationship to the real world. So based on your experience, what would you like to see? You talked about developing the STEM, the curriculum within the school. What other things would you like to see change in the education environment to help others that are coming behind you or are currently in that process too?
So I think first thing first should start with our primary education. It's not just tertiary universities. It should start with primary education. Whatever we're being taught in primary school, they should revise our syllabuses in that they should remove things that are irrelevant. Yes, we can learn certain things, but we should focus more on things that are going to help us prepare for the future, be ready for the future. In universities, they should introduce exchange programs for exposure's sake. I'm in Zambia, you're in the UK. Maybe if you could come here for 3 months and see how things are done, and I could come there for 3 months and see how things are done, so that when I come back to my country, I'm a bit exposed and I know where to improve on certain things that we're having over here. So, and also if we could also invest more into research facilities. I'll talk of the pandemic. We were not prepared for the pandemic here in my country because we have not really invested much in research facilities and science facilities where we can have people just sit and look at the future, be prepared for what's coming in the future. So I think that's what can be done to improve to do a lot of improvements in our institutions.
Okay, wonderful. Do you're right, and I think even with the pandemic, it's actually nobody was ready for it. I think I think all the nations, they were thrown back. They couldn't because no one expected it. I guess it's one of those things where you made a good point of being proactive, getting ready.
Yeah,
go on.
I think that's the reason we should actually be awakened now to say something like this can happen again.
Yeah.
So we really need to focus on, we need to move with the world as it is evolving, because I think the next generation that we're going into is a very technical and technological generation. The world is moving from even computers. We've moved from the computers we were using, the motherboards that were there. Things are just changing. So the pandemic should really teach us something on evolving.
Very, you're so right. And I'm looking forward to the people who hear you saying, hold on a minute, this is something we should do, because it's one of the things that I've been trying to say, that we as the STEM industry or the STEM world, we need to be more proactive rather than complain about things that do not work or hasn't worked. What can we can in some ways predict certain things, because we can see it's happened before. Although technology is evolving all the time, there's certain elements that do still occur. Maybe there's a year, like 40, 100 years apart, but it still has happened before. So there's ways to predict what can possibly happen. So going fast forward concerning your future, and what would you like to do in the mining industry? Because I know you talk about explosives production, drill blast mining, geotechnical engineering, black mine, all that. So what would be your dream job? What would you like to make change? Go
on. So in the mining industry, for me, I love geotechnical work, and I love the drill and blast sector. And I don't know if it's because of the project that I did, because there's mine planning, then there's also the other side of mining, which is the operations. So I'd love to work in the operations more, because in my country currently, we're trying to ramp up production from producing 800,000 tons a year to 3 million tons a year. So for us to achieve that target, we need to be innovative, and we need to improve on the current technology that's in the mines. So personally, I would love to invest in technology. I would love to invest myself in learning ways and means of how we can improve the current mining methods and techniques that are available into techniques that are going to be more efficient for the country, because we are just a developing country. So I want to offer such services to my country, and I could do that maybe by learning from other people. And so I'd love to go for my master's, I think, very soon.
Okay.
Maybe next year.
Well, hey, why not? Why not? Exactly. Why? I mean, what you're doing, because you're saying, what I can hear is that if you improve on yourself, you can help improve on others and help your country as well. And I think that's so important, because it's about you. When you develop yourself, you can see things much clearer in a broader scheme rather than in a narrow scheme. And that's quite important. So, going back just slightly, because you mentioned about innovation. When you say innovation, what type, expand on that, because innovation is a very broad word to use in relation to mining and geotechnical engineering. So tell us more, expand on that, please.
So on the part of innovation, I have a few friends of mine that I was in class with some, and some of them were doing other programs, but we completed together. So we sat down together and came up with a company. We call it Tricon Engineering. Yes.
That's good. Yeah.
So, well, this comprises of a mechanical engineer, mining engineer, electrical engineer, computer engineering, IT, and geology. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to come up together and try to develop a software that can be used, a Zambian software that can be used in our mines, because we are importing even softwares in our countries, because we don't have facilities that are developing such softwares. So since in our universities they are training us to be engineers who are supposed to be problem solvers, we're trying to come together and design softwares, not just softwares, design equipments, because in my country right now, there's gold mining going on. So the mechanical engineer has been trying to design a processing machine that can be processing the gold as they are mining, as the small scale miners are mining that gold. So we can process that gold, then sell it to, we have ZCCM, which is currently buying gold from the small scale miners. And then not just that, underground, we have a lot of ways and means of supporting the war underground. These are the things that we were learning. So we are trying to see if we can try to manufacture things like boats, nuts, because these nuts are things that we're importing from South Africa, but we're not manufacturing them ourselves. So as students, we don't have enough funds to do all this, but this is like a long-term plan on something that we can develop as we grow our career. We want to be making things like wire meshes and supplying to our mines, improve on the PPE that we wear. These days, there's smart wearable, smart PPE, things that when you're wearing the PPE, it can detect any movements from the ground. So meaning you're safe, it warns you to say, yeah, where you're standing, it's not safe, you need to move,
Wow, that's
why
impressive.
we're also trying to engage someone from telecommunications, because all this requires network. We need somebody who's learned the telecoms to be with us and develop on the current networks that we're having in Zambia, so we can just, try to come up with something as youths of our country that's going to, in the long run, create employment. We're fighting poverty. I think we're attaining the SDGs if you look at it from my point of view.
100%. Because you're the future. You're the future, and you're the leaders of the future. So why not? You're starting early, and I love that. I love the fact that what you're saying is, why can't we develop our own ingrown tools, products that will that will impact our nation in a positive way? Because rather than importing or exporting from others, why can't we do the same thing and people buy from us, or we can help to change our own environment itself? And that to me is visionary, because you have to be visionary. You have to see things beyond the four corners of your wall, but see in a further, like, long term. And to me, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of all the group of people that have got together to start this business up.
Nice.
And so, but what I wanted to find out, this software, how different would be your software be in comparison to other software that are out there to help the mining industry?
So we haven't even come up with the software yet. The thing is, this is why I was emphasizing on our education system. If we had invested in STEM way before, would know how to improve on what's currently on the ground. So the softwares would try to develop is just improving on what the mines are already using. We look at the problems that the mines are facing and see how the softwares that they're currently using, how they're helping them, then see the other challenges and see how we could incorporate in other components that are going to help solve the problem that they're currently facing, because you find they keep upgrading. I'll give an example in our mines. There's a SEPAC software, it's a mine designing software that they use. So you find that most mines are now running away and they're moving to something that's actually more, they're moving to something new. You find this mine is now using Desweek. No, this mine is using this. They're phasing out from certain softwares. So being in the mining industry, I would like to find out why they're actually phasing away from the software that they are using to the next software, so that we can develop on what they're currently using, so they could also phase out from that software to our softwares.
Oh, I like that, to our software. I love that. That is, I love that. That to me is, as I said, it's very visionary. The approach, the way you see things, the way your group see things, because again, what you're doing is you're using this platform to talk about the things you'd like to see change. And I know you've had that, from what I can hear, you've had conversation with others as well about the need and the importance of that. And I applaud you, and I celebrate you. I celebrate you. I celebrate everybody else that's among your team as well. So excuse me. And so give us two things that you would like to see. You talk about the education system being changed or improving, get them up to date, so that that those students going through the education system are not going through the old traditional things that are not going to be useful for them in the future or in the industry, but updating the technological side of things, the way, the processes, the things that they're teaching, so that they can apply those skills or those theory into the real world itself. You also talked about developing stuff that Zambia as a nation, Zambia's people within there using developing things themselves, or products that can be used in the mining industry, for example, understanding what are the changes, what are the things that are being used, and how can you improve on it. And using, you talked about your team or your group of you that are getting together to update and bring in software that can be used to help the mining industry in Zambia. So what other things would you like to see happen, and to help also get more young people, especially girls, to come on into the industry too?
To get to what, pardon?
Yeah, to get more young females to get into the industry too.
So to get more females into the industry, I think firstly it's about the people that are already in the industry being inspirational and motivating. It's not good, like for me, when I get in the industry, I shouldn't shut off the world and just focus on me being in the industry. I think I should be more involved with my community. I should be a role model in my community, and also social media. Social media is a tool that can be used for both positive and negative. So in my country, we have role models. We have like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the platform in my country that isn't quite used by a lot of people. Only a few people in the professional world are on LinkedIn. So if we could market ourselves to the young ones to say, look at me, look at me now, I'm in this field and I'm doing it, because it starts from high school orientation. That's why I said we need to improve our system just from primary school, because more girls will actually be involved if they knew the career programs that are available. I won't even lie to you. While growing up, I only knew of a few careers. It's either I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to do civil engineering, or accounts. Like there's no chain between universities and high schools. So most people, if you're a female, you'd find you want to drift into a program that's known. Maybe say I'll do economics, I'll do banking and finance, I'll do accounts, because these are things that are known. So if we could orient people more about the programs that are being offered in universities, that can be very good for a girl child to actually say, I think I want to do electrical engineering. I think I want to do, it starts from when you're young.
Yeah.
When you're young, you can say I think I want to become a mechanical engineer. What do mechanical engineers do? So for a girl child to be more involved, it should start from us, from me.
Yes.
It should start from me to educate them about more fields that are available in the country. I didn't know of mining engineering until I went to university. I just thought it's just to be a miner. Like, my grandfather was going to the mine and coming back. He wasn't an engineer, he was just a miner. I didn't even know.
Oh, hold on, he's an engineer. Don't say he's just a miner. He's got to do.
He was just a miner.
Well,
he was just a miner, going to the mine and coming back with bread, because in the mines they used to give them bread and milk. So he would come back and go back. So I think we should improve. I'll emphasize on improving science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Our kids should start learning the new things that's why exposure is very important. I'm also heavy on exposure.
Yeah.
I'm also very heavy on exposure. If we have a few people that have been exchange programs are happening, would have so much exposure in the country.
Indeed. And yes. You're 100% correct. And I think what you just said, exposure is so important. I think unless you know what's out there, you can't see anything else but what you already know, which is in your four corners. And you talked about using your own personal experience, that when you started off, that you were limited about what was available for you. It's only when you went to university that you had the opportunity to know more about what mining engineering was all about, geotechnical engineering. And so that's so important. And I love what you said as well about starting from a young age, from primary school, because unless you expose them, but also about the exchange program, I think that's so important. And we need to find a way to do that. And it doesn't have to be very far. It could be within your local environment, where we're exchanging, because there are lots of development going on. Unless you know about it, it's difficult for you to embrace it. And you've given that opportunity to go on an internship in Sulawesi, made a huge difference. It made you understand things much better as well. So I can talk with you. I'm so proud of you. I really am proud of. And
I could talk to you the whole day.
Yeah, I can. And I can see. You're going to be one of those to watch out for as the future leaders of tomorrow, because of your vision and because of your drive and because you believe in what you're saying, and that will come through because people hear you and people want to be part of you as well. And I'm so grateful for you to come over to my platform. So again, I want to say thank you so much, Ngawa. Thank you. I'm really impressed with you, and you are going to be a wonderful role model that people who have never thought about mining will say, oh God, Ngawa did it, I want to do it too. She's so excellent. I loved listening to her. Do you understand? And you're a leader. That's something I picked up. You're a leader, you're a driver, and that comes through in just our conversation. So thank you so much. Thank you. Again, thank you. Again, this is Margaret Ajibade, the STEM Positive Disruptor. The reason why this platform has been set up is we want to educate, we want to raise awareness, we want to demystify and change people's perception of what STEM is, that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Is bringing people bring the public into our domain, showing the diverse roles, looking at the different levels of skill set as well. So, for example, Ngawa's a recent graduate, or she's going to be graduating early next year. But, you know, she's achieved so much in such a short period of time. And she's a wonderful leader, a visionary that, you know, I believe you won't hear about many, many years late to come. So again, I just want to say thank you so much. Please listen to this podcast. If you like it, subscribe to it and share, spread the word as well. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.